Welcome back to the RationalInvestor.com Broiler Chicken Show. Trade your trading plans. Don't take too much risk on any one trade, and just let yourself get rich. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the RationalInvestor.com's daily. What is this? This is the Broiler Chickens. It sounds to me. How on earth am I going to deal with this? This is a total curveball. Sorry, folks. I got to turn this. Am I going to deal with this? It's a total curveball. Sorry, folks. I got to turn. Am I going to deal with this? It's a total curveball. All right. Well, I'll turn that off. I don't know whether I can hear Chris. Chris, are you still there? Okay, good. I can still hear you. That's good. Hanging out in actually in Tornado Alley, eh? Holy moly. I don't know whether you guys saw the storms here recently, but a bit of a challenge there. I'm continuing to look at properties down here in southern Missouri and Illinois, and actually just sent Chris back home yesterday. I think it was yesterday. God, so many. One more day of touring properties, and then we'll make a decision as to whether there's anything worth pulling the trigger here on. Have been trying very hard to keep these regular video offering meeting last week, and of course the team was all pissed off at me. So my apologies to the team. But on balance, I think we're doing okay. And I can see a few people over there on the YouTube page. Let's see who we've got. We've got, and of course, we're probably going to have all the crazy bots probably popping in here and shilling their product. I've got the my laptop in front of me, and then I have the YouTube page and all the Discord and all that kind of stuff up on a monitor just slightly above me. So if you see me looking up to the left, my apologies. That's what I'm doing here. And I have to be out the door here. It is now 11 o'clock, so I'm going to have to be out the door here probably in a good hour. So can't do a marathon today, but uh, offering here. In fact, I can hear housekeeping's just about to come around the. I'm still in the room, so please come on to give me a call. What? Yeah. Don't worry about it. Thanks. All right, that's fun. Of course, Brian. Anybody who took a course with me in the past, I remember we had students. I'd get up and go to the bathroom right in the middle of class, and people would be like, oh, "What the hell's this guy doing?" So I'm a little bit relaxed about this. Let's see if I come back. Maybe, hey, there I am. I'm back on camera, so I see I'm a little bit delayed here. Anyway, there's a fun beginning to this video. I'm sure I probably didn't do the site or the service justice, but I'll try my best here. Let's put our Discord thing over here. Actually, I guess that's the Zoom call thing over here, so that's not in people's way. And look at that. We got a bunch of people here on the call. Hello, Goose88. I think he's one of my biggest fans. Always posting that he thinks I do a pretty good job. D-Mac, haven't seen you in a while. Good to see you, buddy. Smash the likes, not a bad idea. Also, too, and actually, we didn't do a newsletter here today because we're on the road, but we did. I did put out my regular tweets, and the Twitter message here today. Clearly, Bitcoin and crypto is looking a heck of a lot more bullish of late. And of course, our basic theory was we're looking for the market to rally into the year end. So actually, I don't know whether year end is right, but I think like September, October, something into there. I think we're probably going to rally into that. That's what all of our studies have been saying for quite a while. I just need to get a little cushion for my arm so the mouse can operate correctly. Okay, so the tweet, let's see if I can find that tweet. Normally I would just refer directly to the newsletter. But where is the Twitter tweet thing? There it is. And I suppose you're not supposed to call it Twitter, tweeter, or whatever. Anyway, it is what it is. Let's put this down there. I don't think I need that just yet. Right. And tweet, tweet, tweet. I think this is going to be the basis of our conversation here today. Okay, I'm not quite sure how I do this. Anyway, drag it over here, make it simple. There we go. So, as you can clearly see, Bitcoin is testing the top end of its trading range. And actually, it was looking rather happy. I don't know whether, yeah, I think that is it. Unfortunately, you've got Brian's birthday candle notation here, slightly skewing the image. We can, so basically testing the top end of the range. Do we break out to new all-time highs? It looks like, and I actually posted this a few minutes ago. It looks like last night when I was sitting in bed, getting ready for the day, it looked like we could basically break either way. And that's pretty much the purpose of consolidations, is you let the price consolidate and then the breakout either higher or lower. It dictates your bias going forward. And usually that structural signal, M's or W's, helps you frame the risk on the trade. Where are we? Oh, I don't want that one. Over here so we can see. Hey, there we are. Last night, like I said, at least I saw this potential bullish bot setting up. Nice A, B, C, D. So had you been bullish, it looks like your breakout was one low, two lows, three lows. Do we get some sort of structural signal on the other side of this trend line looking like it could happen? And also, too, if you're a fan of Adam, he absolutely loves to watch the moving average relationships, and you can see how the real war is going on here. And if we actually zoom in on this picture, now that price has perked up, you actually see W's are forming on the 13 EMA, which is hugely bullish. So the other side of that equation is this an L Tango Nader where we M out and you got one high, two highs, three highs. I mean, this is the most, if I was going to teach a course on how you identify a consolidation in price, this is absolutely perfect example. So it could be a bull flag, could be a double top, and we have to come down to 50% retracements. And waking up this morning when I looked at the screen, actually, I got to say, I was pretty impressed. Bitcoin is moving higher in earnest. Would like us to see us take out this 105,819 level. Is that what we got there? Yeah, 105,819.45. Hit a high of 105,680 this morning. So we're within about 150 bucks of breaking out here. I'd be very surprised if that didn't break out. And then also, too, given what's going on in the world, and more importantly, actually, I don't even know whether these guys even updated this. We're getting data coming out of US consumers that they're just not very happy. And then, probably the most important thing, which is kind of interesting that this is not showing up here, we've got a whole bunch of news about the US being downgraded, their credit status being downgraded. Moody's downgrades US credit as Congress considers bill that could add to deficits. You got to be kidding me. And it's so ironic, right? Because the Republicans are completely in control of the US government. The Republicans are supposed to be the spendthrifts. And what are they doing? They're doing exactly the same thing that Biden and the Democrats did. No difference. So, no offense, but these Republicans are complete hypocrites. I mean, what's the definition of socialism? So, these Republicans are more socialist than any Republican government body I've seen in my entire life. And of course, no offense to Donnie Lovers. I don't think he gives a rat's ass about the actual US government just as long as he keeps making more money. More money, gotta make that money. So unfortunately, what this means is, ironically enough, Bitcoin will go down in price when value starts coming back into the equation. But if you keep talking about issuing more and more and more debt, then that means that the value of these silly fiat currency nonsense things is getting worse and worse and worse. And of course, Bitcoin as a store of value, and I might argue the principal reason why someone should be involved in crypto and Bitcoin is this whole idea of proof of work and the actual fact that there's value to the ledger. There's a limited supply. You know how the story goes. So the interesting thing about this whole scenario is, of course, our 4-year cycles say that we should be peaking into this 4-year event window. This is the summer season of our 4-year cycles. This is when the price should go absolutely crazy. And having some sort of debt crisis, it looks like the bonds are getting absolutely smoked. It's interesting while talking to real estate agents on the road, the one thing that they're bitching and complaining about is that mortgage rates just keep going higher and higher and higher. And actually, I don't have that on here, but I really should. And we should also see what our inflation deflation gauge looks like. My hunch is inflation is well underway, I guess would be the best way to describe it. Now, what the hell do we call this damn thing? Just give me a second here, folks. And I know I only have an hour, so trying to move relatively quickly here through this. Where on earth do we have stock market breadth? I think this will be it. Survey says, come on, baby. Lucky, 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 lucky. I think this is it. Right. Yes, it is. So we're lucky. All right. So the exact opposite of the bond market situation. These are the yields, and you can see just as of late, yields on the mortgages ticked up. So all the real estate agents all around me are like, oh. And the interesting thing is I say, well, we're going to be cash buyers. We don't want to deal with stupid banks, neither a borrower nor a lender be. And I really suggest all of you try and live that kind of life. And they were like, ooh, cash. Ooh, I want to talk to you because really the banks, they're in trouble right now. No, I'm not going to say they're in trouble. I'm going to say that they kind of like 2008, 2009, they are tightening lending standards, which means that consumers who are, need mortgages, need loans because they're basically, strapped into that paycheck to paycheck kind of world. Man, the banks are making life very difficult for them. So our inflation deflation gauge, what do we see? Do we see more M's or do we see more W's of late? Look at all these W's, buy the FNW.com, right? Blah, blah, blah. So I don't see any pause in the inflation push. Boo, hiss, hiss, boo. And ironically enough, you could actually make the argument with Trump going and doing his thing over there in the Middle East. I think what he's done here and what he'd actually like to do is he'd Google wants me to start driving. Um, he wants his oil price as firm as possible, right? He doesn't want to see oil prices go down because now, ironically enough, and I find this fascinating. It'd be interesting to see what Google says here. Who is the biggest exporter of oil in the world today? So it is still Saudi Arabia. That's interesting. I thought that the United States had crept up on them. So I don't see that. Where are we? Oh, interesting. Look at that. Crude oil exports. USA is not even on the top five. Oh, that's surprising. Huh. Okay. Well, I understand production. I could have sworn the U.S. was spitting out something like some crazy ass number, like maybe the U.S. is using it all internally. Um, Let's maybe change this. Let's say, what is the U.S. daily production, U.S. oil production per day? Yeah, there we go. 13.4 million barrels as of August of last year. New records. You can imagine me, drill, baby, drill. And, this is probably going to go through the roof. The U.S. has been the world's top crude oil producer since 2018. So maybe the U.S. isn't selling all their oil overseas, they're just selling it domestically. That could be the case. But the bottom line here is I think that this is sort of Mr. Trump's, he even said with well, I think when he was on the Joe Rogan show, just don't touch my black gold. Don't touch my black gold. So I have a funny feeling he actually went over to the Middle East. Half of the reason he went over there was to talk to the Saudis and the UAEs and all those people and just say, look, stop flooding the market with oil. We can all get rich together here. Just, get your act together. And lo and behold, here comes a big fat bottom in crude. And I suppose one could argue, I think I've been talking to you guys about this recently. I know the private shows that I do. You can see the cute little inverted head and shoulders here. I don't know whether it's valid or not, but nonetheless, right back up to the neckline. I think we're going to do another shoulder here. And then my hunch here is they're probably going to take this price right back up into this mid $70 range here before this is said and done. Having said that, it hasn't happened yet. So I think in this kind of window here, before this crude starts taking off, we could see things like tech stocks and Bitcoin and stuff actually do relatively well. But, as I said to start off this conversation, the big $64,000 question is, what the hell's going to happen first thing Monday morning? Of course, they did it on a Friday. Oh, that's awfully nice of them. So what do these bonds do first thing Monday morning? You can see the M that's flirting in here. We could very easily see that these bond yields, these are prices we're looking at here now. So the yields are exact opposite, especially that 2-year. Clearly the Fed is going to be like, oh boy, this credit downgrade is going to be, it's going to cost us more money, which of course is inflationary. And you can see the 2-year yield is not happy here whatsoever. My hunch here is that this starts to get into dangerous territory again. And then that brings a halt to the stock market rally. But while we're in this, it's fascinating to see this January barometer study play itself out. I mean, you could really argue from the January barometer's perspective, there was the low, there was the high of this anticipated rally. If we do nothing more than things like 50% rules, you can make the argument that we very easily could have just seen 50% of this rally that we're expecting here through the late spring, summer of this year in the stock market. And my hunch here is that this is probably setting us up, it'll take the market overbought. What I think will probably happen here with regard to the dashboard is when we get into a situation like this, if we get any sort of short-term sell signals with the medium term being so overbought like this, it can turn into an absolute rout. But you can see how the market broke. We got a little bit of a short-term sell signal. The broader market, things like the Russell 2000, the S&P 500 kind of going sideways, but Russell 2000 really came off, and actually you can see that over here. So here's our Russell 2000. You can see he's not really that happy. Has had a bit of a bounce, but we haven't even gotten back to the 200 SMA. And you can already see Willie Stupid. You can already see the potential bear div and MACD. Don't have any M's in RSI working just yet. So when we get that second M in RSI off of this daily chart, oh boy, that's going to be a run for the hills signal. So I don't think we have any sell signals. And you can see the volume is very, very light here, which tells me that this isn't really cheap. Where everybody, especially, sadly, the public is in there panic dumping and the institutions are buying up all those sell orders. And we're also not really expensive here, where you can see the double top broke down and the sellers really stepped up in earnest here and broke that OBV. So we're kind of like middle of the road. But the interesting thing is path of least resistance, the inertia is still to the upside. And one of the hallmarks actually of a very strong market is it can often sit, and this isn't the best example. We probably have to go back to previous. This is a pretty good example where the market can actually sit for quite a while, actually overbought. So it just because it is overbought, that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to break. It just means as a prudent investor, this is not the best place for us to be coming in. In fact, Mr. Hoagland, he absolutely hates when you take trades right at the POC or basically the middle of the range. He's of course wanting to buy. Oh, there he is, Johnny. Oh man, he sure looks big. He wants to be a buyer below value and a seller above value. So you can see that, and also too, I think this profile is an excellent anecdote that there is a ton of backfilling that's going to need to be done on this profile before it looks quote unquote full. So lots and lots of work here. My hunch here, path of least resistance for the near term, moving averages have turned back up. We haven't even hit 200 SMA on the small caps. So I think that this portion here, right here, corresponds with bringing that fast back up into proximity. Whenever these aren't technically moving averages, they are bullish and bearish percentage indexes of the fast signals, or basically like price crossing the 13 EMA versus the slow signals. 13 EMA is crossing the 30 SMA, which is sort of like your investor signal, and then the cross of the fast moving average would be like your trader signal. So I think the market was a little bit heavy there, probably right at the very beginning of May, had to take a bit of a pause. It's coming back up. And if anything, what I'd like to see is I'd like to see these two lines, let's call it that for less lack of a better term, come together, right? These moving averages don't really like to be far apart. And you can see like over time, the fast will dip away, then it'll check, dip away, check, dip away, check. In fact, actually, interestingly enough, we haven't been in a situation where the market has actually been oversold for actually quite a while. If we think about our January barometer, what I think happens here is the slow or the fast grinds its way back up top, which is this rally. Then once we get back up top there, and you have both the fast and the slow in either an overbought or oversold condition, that's a major, major warning sign. Also, too, and I absolutely love this adaptation of the use of this dashboard. Um, we have the currencies, and of course, crypto itself, I think, is actually a leading indicator in the currencies. But you can see all of the currencies now are actually oversold, both on the fast and the slow on this market, which tells me, and if we take our mouse over to the currencies, we haven't quite got that oversold condition on the currencies, but darn close, eh? Um, and how ironic, we're going to get that violent move in the US dollar based on Moody's downgrading their debt quality. Is this the catalyst that turns this back up? And the currencies all start a major rally against the US dollar now. That's very possible. Also, really like the fact from a contrarian perspective, market getting washed out. On the short term, the crypto market is egregiously oversold. That's great. Yeah, on the medium, we could still do a little bit of backfilling here, but we could very easily see this fast first thing Monday morning, or when Sjord updates the engine, that it ticks back up, because I do see quite a bit of bullishness here in the crypto space. The bonds did come off of what I considered a historically low pivot, and good old Hugh Hendry. Oh boy, Hugh is probably sitting there and doing a lot of nail biting. I'm sure he's not overly happy with the credit downgrade. I don't know what the hell this thing's going to do Monday morning. It'd be interesting to see if we gap lower, right? If we actually start confirming bearish market structure closing below these levels here, this might be some big ass bearish A, B, C, D. And it's interesting if we actually take, like if I change this back to a candle chart. What over here? Let's go here, candles. There we are. If we actually look at the original trend line off of the peak from back there a year or two ago, oh Jesus, isn't that incredible? That's like now 5 years ago. Where the hell did our lives go? Holy crap. What am I trying to do here? Why can I not pick that up? What the heck is this? I don't want to be drawing. I want to be magneting. Magnet. Oh, doesn't want a magnet. Why are you doing that? Work now. There we go. Yay. So I think that this actually is going to become a long-term historic trend line now that the market's going to fight with. Look how the market just totally fought with that trend line the whole way down. And this is scary. I've seen this happen before, folks, where the market loses that trend line, then has to play catch up and tanks all the way back down to that trend line. And how ironic that I'm in here thinking about shopping for real estate. If this bond market just collapses and interest rates just absolutely collapse, I think I'll bid like $1 on these houses. And these people are going to be so freaked out because there's just not going to be any mortgage business at all. There's no way consumers can afford these prices. I might just get filled with my cash buy orders. But I'll tell you, man, I'm actually pretty surprised at the way the bond market has really puked out. And then, of course, if we look at our inflation deflation gauge, there ain't no stopping this inflation. That's the scary part about this is the market. And, this is what we teach in our education program. It's super important to have tools that can actually give you a very real look at what's going on in the market. And this is about one of the realest looks I've ever seen in my 35 years of not, media bullshit, not politicians bullshit. What is the real market message? And unfortunately, folks, inflation is not going away here. I see Josh says Liam will get 10 houses bought the town. Well, I tell you, we all know what 27, 28 are supposed to look like, right? I mean, God, you've heard me bark about this ad nauseum. I won't spend any more time because we have a limited amount of time here, but you all know what I'm expecting 27, 28. And what sucks horse, is it looks like the market might actually be validating. Look how far these bonds have got to fall just to get back to that trend line. What it's interesting here too is all these fog and bombs. Look how there's a whole cluster of fog and bombs. That's just off of these M's. I suppose we could do new ones off of this M right here, although that was broken. What scares me is if we do one off of here. Ay caramba. And of course, how do you get your $1 million Bitcoin? Well, this is about the easiest way for it. So ironically enough, if it does happen, and maybe house prices go up 50%, but if Bitcoin goes to $1 million, your Liam's getting a house, my Liam's getting a house, everybody's getting a house. How does that go? Oprah Winfrey. Although my tone changed there, so I don't know whether it actually picked up that on the video. All right, so interesting. If this big M here now confirms, and I just eyeballed it, but look, we're 1.618 is going to basically be a test of these lows. And then my hunch is that we slam down into that. We confirm all this bearish structure and look out below. But I wouldn't be surprised if we get a little bit of play off of that, then a little bit of a Wyckoff check, and then there's some sort of horrific shit that just hits the fan here. And of course, if we go back to our January barometer, we know that, as of somewhere, let's call it, September, October, the traders themselves are expecting the shit to hit the fan here. And my hunch here, for whatever it's worth, my hunch is the stock market works its way higher. Donnie's doing deals all over the world. But I mean, you know what the hell he's doing right now. I don't need to go into more detail about that. And the stock market sort of ignores the message out of the bond market, but interest rates keep ticking higher and higher and higher. And then one day the stock market wakes up and goes, Hey, have you guys seen what's going on over in the bond market? Holy crap! And anyway, I mean, the irony of all of this is that we know, according to our Benner cycle and according to, of course, the Bitcoin 4-year cycle, we know that this orgy is going to come to some sort of insane blow off top peak. Bitcoin, like, this is the kind of shit that you should be expecting here, folks. We really haven't had that blow off top. And I've been in this silly space for quite a while, and usually the blow off top is insanely bullish. What I do find fascinating about Bitcoin is how we actually went there, I don't know, maybe about a month or so ago, with people literally saying that the bull market was over. I couldn't believe that. Like how quickly the public just absolutely turned. I know the bull market is done. And as soon as you start hearing the public talk that way, you actually have to be thinking the exact opposite. So it's interesting how we were able to dip here, but we didn't even get down into 61.8. So, and then of course Tom Lee was barking 60, 70,000. To me, it seemed logical. If we look at our where do we want to go here? Want to do this one? No, this one. There was a period there. What is this? This is 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, about a month or so ago, where the moving averages actually started to cross bearishly. And it's like, oh boy, this is going to get ugly. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, just pop, they brought the moving averages back bullish. And we've just literally gone straight up. Um, Considering this is coming into the end of this cycle, I wouldn't be surprised if this thing just keeps churning its way higher here. If this was sort of a lack of fundamental news driven environment, then I would expect the trading range to hold. But we all know that this is this part of this insane cycle. And the interesting thing about this is just a simple ABCD, takes us up to 230, 240. That's Tom Lee's upside objective. But I don't see any reason why, especially debt downgrade, stock market starts freaking out. Actually, ironically enough, this will actually move up with the stock market moving higher. But you see, there's 1.618, Brian's no-brainer ABCD. This is a log scale. So maybe that might skew this a little bit. But that's up at like 600,000. I don't know whether we can actually do that kind of move, but a move up here. In fact, I've had this ABCD working for a very long period of time. So A to B, C to D, 342,000. And that pretty much corresponds with that 1.272. I like that as a crazy ass blow off top objective heading into the end of this cycle. Turning our attention to, and just to finish off this thought, if you're a lower time frame trader, I don't really have a problem with taking trades and trading setups off of this. I have a very hard time mom and pop coming in and investing in Bitcoin. Like, we're going to make a blue chip investment. We've sold off this big asset and we're going all in on Bitcoin. Well, if you can time your purchases here over the next 6 months, all right, you might be able to catch that. But 6 months is not an investment time horizon in any, we always say in the brokerage industry, and this is the trap I think that's being laid, is we used to always say you must have a 3 to 5 year time horizon. So I could very easily see noobs coming in here at 100 and change and then having to go through a year or two, seeing their account go up. Maybe they get like a 50% gain. We pop all the way. It's interesting on this linear scale, right? The near term objective, blow off top, no brainer short of like a 4 hour trade setup here. I think they could blast this thing all the way up to like 120, 122, that kind of idea. And of course, everybody's going to be roaring about new bull markets, blah, blah, blah. And then we have to do another one of these consolidations. That wouldn't surprise me one bit. So, lower time frame participants, if you're trading the corn, great. But investment quality, you know me, I'm a rational investor. which means that I have to try and include fundamental analysis in my thinking. Of course, this always sort of sometimes falls on deaf ears. Sometimes people like this, but just what is the cost to mine one Bitcoin? You can see other people have looked for this. And you can see right now they're saying, I don't know whether you'd agree with this or not, but at 10 cent kilowatt hour, 11,000 bucks. I don't know, let's double that price, 20 cent a kilowatt hour. That's what, 20 some odd thousand, 30,000. I actually really do like the idea, and I've talked to you guys about this in the past. I really like the idea of the market running up to 250,000. And then typically these Bitcoin corrections, like from trough to peak, back to trough, is about an 80% correction in price. So you can see we topped out here. Of course, that's right there. Topped out here, 67. Is that what that says? I can't see. Anyway, I thought we got up to 70, but maybe it was just in the 60s. Something doesn't seem right about that. But anyway, 80% of that takes us down to what, 12, 13, 14,000. Of course, the writing's right over there. And you see the low here, 15,000. So, roughly 80% of that peak, that's in that area, 70, 80%. If we do the same logic of the previous peak, this was 20,000, if I'm not mistaken. 19,666. Remember that? That was a funny print. But anyway, the bottom here was 3,000. So same sort of idea. 80% would have been 4,000. So I'm actually very comfortable with us popping up here into this 250, 300,000 window, and then just simply having over the next, unfortunately, and I got to tell you, this is such an incredibly powerful tool. We can actually get a pretty good idea of pretty much when this is going to happen. That window should happen between about September 2006 and I don't know, May, June 2027. So ideally, my plan is according to my plan, as soon as we cross 250,000, I start shilling out on a once a week basis and just average my way out of Liam's Bitcoins north of 250,000. And then put aside enough to buy the amount of Bitcoins that I sold for Lily back at 50,000. And I'll just leave that money on the sidelines waiting to just basically go and buy back the coins that I sold. So that's my plan here going forward. I don't know what your plan is. I definitely think it's a good idea everybody work with a plan. And to that end, for the longest time, especially when we were in this last 1.618 to 1.786 window, I was going on and on and on, day after day after day. Do you have your skirt together? Do you have your shirt together? Right? And if you don't have your shit together, get your crap together. Now, obviously, we've moved up appreciably here, almost 10x. I still think that there is a window here, and I actually think the altcoins are going to represent a really, really cool way to make a pile of money here over the next 6, 8, 12 months. Well, let's say 8 months. And to that end, I don't know whether they're ready to go just yet, but here is that total. I'm not going to turn uber bullish on the alts until we actually cross back above here. And really what this is all about is this is the total market cap. So this is Bitcoin breaking out, and more importantly, things like Ethereum breaking out. And ironically enough, Ethereum, I think, still hasn't even gotten back to when Donnie's kid told everybody in his great wisdom that that was a really good time to buy Ethereum. Not. It is interesting how I wanted to show you this LTO in particular because about a month or two ago, remember, we actually drew out this forecast. And I got to tell you, man, squiggly line theory for the win. That's not a bad prediction. Although I don't really like getting into the business of making predictions. You all know that. Um, but name after name after name here on the altcoin space are just looking absolutely perfect. Look at Chris's BNT. Oh my goodness, that's so pretty. Look at that inverted head and shoulders. Oh my goodness. So, Chris encouraged me to pick some up here on this reload zone pullback. I bought two out of three of my lots and I missed the last buy order. If we do get a pullback, maybe I'll sneak my way back in. But ironically enough, my average here is about 50 cents or maybe in the 40s. So if we get up into the 80s, I'm going to have to be banging out doubles here. And there's just so many of these names that all look at this. Look at Sjord's Rune. I mean, yeah, they screwed up internally. They spent a lot of time fixing the story. And if I'm not mistaken, they've tried desperately to try and sort of get everybody whole again. You can see I did start buying up here, bought some more, bought some more, bought some more. I'm actually up on the trade right now, and you can all see the beautiful inverted head and shoulders, higher highs and higher lows defines the bull. I have no idea where the hell this thing's going here, but if my average is sitting around a buck and a half, somewhere in that area, darn tootin', I'm going to be selling halves on doubles here. But I wouldn't be surprised if a name like this actually sees new highs here. Call me crazy. Many people do. So, I think we're heading into this kind of environment here where things can get a little bit nutso. I mean, look at that base. I talked to you guys about saucer bottoms. Well, take a screenshot of that. That is what a saucer bottom looks like. Obviously, not the best looking saucer, but you get the idea. I mean, this has literally taken, what, 6 months to clean itself up. So, I mean, there's so many names that look like this. I mean, this is a buyer's dream. Zug's story. Look at that thing go. I mean, they're off to the races. There's that saucer bottom. And just like Rune, I mean, I don't know whether Rune will follow the same path as this guy here, but geez, look at that thing getting going. So the point that I wanted to make with all of this is we have a new school term starting up here very shortly. Um, because of the absolute negative insanity of the market state right now, it's relatively quiet. I mean, if you want a situation where you can come in and basically work on one with the instructors, interest in taking programs right now to buy poop coins and to build trading plans and get your skirt together so you can actually participate with this on a relatively sane. I mean, you see how much gray hair. People are always talking about how is it that you have no gray hair? Well, I'm a professional risk taker, but I know how to manage risk and I don't take too much bets. And of course, I make damn sure to pay myself. I make money from trading. You want to be that type of person? Well, school program. We're starting a new school term here, and the school term's relatively small class size, which means that you're going to get one-on-one individual attention. I know there was one gentleman last term, man, he asked a ton of questions, and we did a one-on-one tutorial together. He and we talked for a good couple hours. We got him headed in a good direction. I think he's doing relatively well now. But the point is that the difference between before he knew TRI and now that he's done the level one program, I think is absolute night and day. And if you need that help to get you to the point where you're participating with confidence, my suggestion is get your butt into this silly school program. And the irony of it all, looks like the deadline window is already closed. So maybe we want to post this on the team room. Julian, is this actually where is the Discord? Discord tastes great. Just give me a second here. How much time do I have? I've got about 10 minutes left here. All right, thank you, sir. Let me just fire this in here. We'll say right. Anyway, sorry about that. Okay, so the point of the matter here is we're basically into that last window of this insane bull market that literally started about a year and a half ago. I hope you were able to take advantage of this 1.618 to 1.786 window. If you haven't, you're going to be coming to the party a little bit late. Don't kid yourself. But that doesn't mean there isn't money to be made. And this is actually the part of the market state where this stuff goes absolutely crazy. And I get a feeling, we'll probably see the same thing sort of happen in um, in the Russell 2000. As soon as it starts to firm up, I think that the small cap market will start joining the big cap market for this part of the market bull run. Um, so as I said, if anything, this Russell 2000, I think there's like a window here where you can see boom, 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 and boom. And I think there's going to be a little bit of a window here for you to just get all of your stuff lined up. Because I think we're probably right like that right now. So what is this? This is a daily chart. 15 bars. So that's basically 3 weeks. And if anything, that makes sense because we're into that period, sell in May and walk away. Usually the market firms up middle to the end of June, and then we go into the summer silly season. So I do think that we have about a 2 or 3 week window here where I think things might need to consolidate a little bit. Like I said, the total market um, crypto index here. I mean, maybe we have one low, maybe two lows, maybe three lows. We might be painting a little bull A, B, C, D here. I don't know. That's tough. I wouldn't mind it actually to consolidate a little bit more. And also, too, interesting for our celestial people, I do think that there's going to be a major shift here when Saturn actually moves into Aries, I think it is. I think this actually should be Neptune. Not quite sure why that says Saturn. Neptune. So this is sort of like the dreamer state of the market. And wow, what a dream, eh? I wouldn't be surprised if there has to be a little bit of consolidation around this event here, kind of like how you saw there was a little bit of a kind of screwiness around here. And then, once that Saturn into Aries event happens and we get on the other side of it, maybe that's when we actually go into full-blown bull mode. So get ready, folks. We're basically here. The great part about it is I did force myself to buy a lot on that pullback. So you notice that almost all of these screens, I think I got maybe about, I don't know, 1,500 bucks. Why is this not? There we go. So this is a really good analogy, and you can see it from a buck 75. That means 350. I should actually be in there banging out doubles right now, eh? That's already a double of what I've done. So if anything, that sort of also speaks to I think there's going to be a 2 or 3 week window here. Obviously, you're not allowed to chase. Don't chase, right? I'd be very disappointed if I heard somebody on TRI say, "Oh yeah, I went and bought FXS there at 380." Because show me a new high and I'll show you a buy. I'll go, come on, give me some sort of consolidation. Give me, if you want to drill down the lower time frames, give me three higher lows, blah, 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 blah. Don't just chase something like that. But that, I mean, if anything, I think this is one of the better quality names in the space. But, if we just scroll through these, same sort of thing. Maybe don't chase. You can maybe consolidation setting up here. You can see this one's basically at scratch, but I mean, there's tons of these. Look at that guy. I pulled one out of my butt when I bought that, eh? Holy moly. But I think you could argue that there's another double I should be banging out here. So anyway, and also the Ethereum's a fascinating conversation about trend line breaks and waiting for W's on other sides of trend lines. Woo-hoo! So my hunch here is that the rally in the short term here does nothing more than just bring us back to Donnie's original buy level or Donnie Jr. And ironically enough, you can even see on the profile, there's going to have to be a lot. There's probably going to be a lot of Donnie buyers here who are going to sell on the pop-up here to actually fill in that profile. Hey, you want to hunt a bullish bot off of this consolidation playing that move, A, B, C, D? All right, fine. but just try and trade consolidations. You really don't want to get into the habit of, see this thing racing up here and you buy the top of the candle. You just look like a doofus, Gucci sweater wearers, all that kind of stuff. But you can see one by one by one, the market is lifting. And I think we're getting ready for that big blow off top event. I think we're here. And we might do a little bit of back and forth here on something like the corn against this previous high. Again, I don't know whether I really have anything on the higher time frames to be chasing something like that. If you are interested in the corn and you're trading, I think we're talking like 4 hour setups here. And it sure looks to me like this thing wants to go and bust out that high. 105,785 is our high right now. And that high there was 105,819. Ay, caramba! So we're within like $50. My hunch is by the time I come back here today, this is gonna blast it through that top. And keep in mind, it's Sunday. We know what's gonna happen here, right? The futures are gonna open up, the bonds are gonna open up. My hunch here, looking at the way they're bidding up Bitcoin, I think this thing's gonna jump. I think that the bonds are going to get their asses kicked here on that debt downgrade. Should be interesting to see how violent this is. And then you want a really big picture. And this is what's so tragic is I was talking to a girl who's trying to sell her house, and she was like, "Oh, I'm just waiting for interest rates to come back down to 2-3%, and then there'll be tons of people who want to buy my house at the price I want." And I'm like, you don't really understand how these long-term cycles work. And ironically enough, I think we've come down very far, maybe a little too far too fast. I wouldn't be surprised if we're in one of these kind of scenarios here, but we haven't even bottomed here yet. I mean, you can see the lows on this particular consolidation was basically taking out that low. From there, we had this huge violent short spike. Do we have a short-term spike? Do we have a violent spike maybe here to try and find some sort of short-term bottom? But ironically enough, the path of interest rates over the next 10, 20 years is actually substantially higher. And actually, I love this image. All I did was I just did a copy price pattern of this 20-year period, projected it back. Obviously, this chart doesn't look exactly like this, but early 80s, that was the bottom in the bond market. There is your 40-year rising bond prices falling bond yields. And unfortunately, now we have to do 40 years of falling bond prices and rising bond yields. I do think that we've hit a bit of an inflection point. This does appear to be like the midpoint of this entire range. This is obviously, I've just, eyeballed this. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's some back and forth, but that doesn't mean we can't oscillate all around here. And what's also interesting too about the profile, remember the profile wants to look like a parabola. So if that's the top end of the range and that's the middle end of the range, then you can actually get a pretty good idea of where the bottom end of the range is, right? It's going to be where the parabola, the middle of the parabola intersects with the POC. So we can just go look at that. So ironically enough, you can see that the profile will want to be filled in all down here. Yeah, bit of a sort of conjecture, but this is the fun kind of stuff you can do. Once you have these sort of skill sets in your pocket, is sort of think about, okay, well, what does the market really want? And it's interesting too how we have these spikes here. Oh boy, it is time for me to wind this up. So come on. Oh, that's weird. Okay, go away. All right. Okay, so let's take a quick look at those questions. And then unfortunately, I'm going to have to let you guys go at that. Where is Chris? And what time is it now? It is 11 o'clock. Is it 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock my time, Chris? I guess it's 12 o'clock, eh? Is it 1 o'clock your time? All right, so literally I have 30 minutes to get out the door here. Did you post the AMA document? Okay, cool. All right, there it is. All right, I don't know whether I've answered these questions recently, but we'll take a look, and if I can help, hopefully I can help. I tell you, man, and woman, and houseplant. There is some beautiful looking bottoms coming in on this altcoin market here. Okay, on the 11th, somebody says, Happy birthday, Brian and Chris. You are the hope in this gray world. Oh, that's sweet of you. Just wanted to ask, why did TRI's F8 portfolio and Brian's crypto portfolio disappear from the webpage for pro subscribers? As I remember, they were available there before. Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, we actually had some professionals take a look at the site, and in their professional opinion, they had actually said that we just way too much information. And then I also noticed because the team, nobody really wanted to take personal responsibility for updating the data. We basically decided to pull the pages down because they just weren't accurate. So that's my direct answer to you. I don't necessarily agree with it, but at the same time, too, we wanted to just strip the website down to the most basic components, and we're really trying to sell this market breadth tool. And so as a result, we did take those portfolio pages down. Um, Also to and I think this is a function of the dysfunctionality of this team. I do think that we're probably going to reorganize the entire business, and I might even just leave this TRI business here in the new year. I think I've given everybody warning that I'm thinking about making a transition in my life. But if you want to follow Julian's trades and what he does, you can see there is his in the Julian Trades Room on Discord. And of course, if you want to follow anything that Brian does, I post all of my trades on the Brian's Trades Discord. And I think unfortunately we're probably just going to have to leave it at that. One thing I did not like is when I did come back to these pages on here, they were consistently inaccurate. And frankly speaking, I don't think we're doing you any favors having inaccurate information on the pages that were on the site. And so, considering that we're trying to streamline this and dial it back, we decided to take those pages down. I mean, one thing I absolutely do not want is inaccurate information being given to all of you. And if you do want to follow our trades, we do, as I said, we have them posted on the Discord here. I'm more than happy. We'll make an attempt tomorrow. We'll see what my schedule looks like, but I think I should be able to do a show for you tomorrow morning. It'll be very early in the morning because I have to hit the road 11 o'clock time here. I think we'll try and do just a screenshot of the Kraken account, just so you can see the account balances and the recent trades and stuff. And maybe I'll just post those screenshots in here just so you can see exactly the positions that I have. And maybe that will be our sort of workaround as we head into the end of the year. And FYI to everybody, I fully plan into the end of the year to basically be liquidating that entire Kraken account, taking profits, and starting afresh. My hunch here, unfortunately, and I don't think any of you are going to like this, but my feeling, my expectation is we're going to be heading into a pretty nasty period in the market once we get through this fall. And probably I won't really want to buy back in earnest until we actually get to this 1.618, which is technically going to be about a year later following whatever this peak here is that we're seeing. So over that period, when this market does top, that's where I'm going to just sort of reorganize my life and sort of get myself set up for what does the future hold for Brian going forward. So just an FYI there. And that's a very direct answer to a very direct question. And I'm not really overly happy with what's happened here with this website and this community, but this is a 33% partnership. This is not the Brian Beamish show. So unfortunately, I can't call the shots of how this place looks and how it operates. And that might actually be the number one reason why I'm going to probably leave at the end of the year and create the environment where Brian Beamish is the principal and I don't fall into this trap that I fell into a couple years ago. But anyway, that's between me and the fence post. Anyway, that's my answer to your question. Unfortunately, it's not really a great answer, but unfortunately, it is what it is. And if you need to, or if you'd like to have a rundown of my positions on Kraken and everything that I'm doing, just DM me. I'm always an open book with all of my portfolios. I'm more than happy to do a screenshot of that and share it with you. And of course, anything I actually do in the market. Haven't really done a heck of a lot over the past couple of weeks, of course, because I've been traveling a bit. But I'm a 100% open book, and you can always DM me and chat with me. I'm no problem sharing screenshots of the Kraken account and all that kind of stuff with you. And ironically enough, actually, I got to be doing a bunch of selling here soon, eh? How ironic. Okay, so that was that question. Probably not the best answer, but at least it's a truthful answer. Where is that AMA document? What the heck did I do with it? I really got to get the hell out of here. So I think there was one more question. We'll just see if I have that. It's not there, so we can put that away. Is it on here? No. All right. What the hell did I do with that silly AMA document? Maybe it's on the Discord tab. Not there. Not over here. Hey, there it is. All right. And then the other question was. Do, 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 do. All right, where did the document go? That's kind of bizarre. Hey, there we are. All right. Do you have any guidance video available for the TRI website dashboard for pro subscribers? There is to a certain degree. Not that page. In the library, we do have video walkthroughs. This will be sort of a major objective of mine over this coming 6 months. Once I feel as though we have the tools actually producing the data that I was hoping to see. Right, dashboard. If you go into the library and you go under website walkthroughs, there's a video walkthrough of the library, TRI's dashboard walkthrough introduction, so there are a number of different videos that I have put together here. So go ahead and watch those videos. And then get back to me with questions. And if you DM me all you want, I mean, that's what I'm here to do. If you have questions after watching all of these, then I'm more than happy to speak to you. And as I said, over the coming weeks, there are some minor errors in this that I really don't want to do big video walkthroughs with things like the weekly commodity trend survey, still having trouble working with some of the data. So you'll notice here, like one of the reasons why I've been a little bit reluctant to really wrap my arms around this. We could have a whole hour or two conversation just off of this. But I really wanted to see things like, actually, this looks pretty good. It's not bad. Where do I want to show you? I'll go breadth. And we'll go the S&P 500. Actually, this is the bullish percentage. So let's go. I think I can basically do videos off all this, and this will be a priority as soon as I get back to Vancouver. But I was having a bit of a problem, and I didn't really want to get the videos going in earnest, especially off this weekly commodity trend survey with this problem with the data. I've been talking a while about this. I really wanted to see this cleaned up because this is inaccurate. Kind of the same thing as the crypto portfolios. They're just inaccurate. And when the data is inaccurate, how can you really sell the product? So I've just been waiting and waiting and waiting. And unfortunately, if this isn't cleaned up in the near future, well, it might be a thing that maybe this project, maybe we bring it to an end. The team just can't produce a marketable product, which sucks. I'm not going to sugarcoat this. I don't like this at all. But this is one of the problems with me being a one-third owner is I can't demand that this gets fixed right away. And I've been waiting 6 months here. It's now the end of May, and this still problem persists. And so as a result, I've been really reluctant to jump into doing all of the tutorials until things like this, which kind of embarrasses me, is addressed. So that's my direct answer for you. Having said that, there are some resources that you can.
Recording in progress.
All right, recording in progress. Not sure what that means, but that must be something telling me I got to get the heck out of here. All right, I think I'm going to leave it at that today, folks. I'll see if we can do another video and I'll follow up with those two questions if there is anything else I can follow up with. But the simple answer is we do have some video walkthroughs that will help you understand how to interpret the data. And over the next 6 months, I plan to do a whole bunch more. And really, the goal was for this platform to be production quality and showtime quality, and the platform itself basically ready for prime time into the November sales window this year. In fact, I actually would like to do a sort of Christmas in July special. So I would like to have those video tutorial walkthroughs done by the July sales window. So you know what my priorities are over the next month or two. As soon as I get back to Vancouver, I'll be working on this in earnest. Okay, I think we're going to leave it at that. Hope you guys got a fairly clear view of what I'm seeing in the market. I definitely think that if anything, if you're on the fence about doing the school, probably a good idea to get this thing done and get that sort of knowledge base in your pocket while the Beamish is still on the site and operating. And you know the big monstrous face rip bull market is here. So my suggestion is, if you really want to learn this stuff, you better get your skirt together. So why don't we leave it at that? All right, have yourselves a great day. PMA for the win. Slow and steady wins the race. Don't take no wooden nickels. Should be really interesting to see how these futures open up, and especially the bond market with that debt downgrade. And of course, does Bitcoin now actually start going into its parabolic phase here? And how are the lower time frame traders doing? Have we broken out to new all-time highs? 105. 980, and the old high there was 105,819. So Bitcoin's at new all-time highs. What a perfect way to end the broadcast. All right, up, and over. Have yourselves a great day. All the best. And the only thing that I can say to you is bye for now.